Rusty and the Boulder is one of, if not, the most popular Thomas Friends episode of all time. The legacy that's been surrounded by this episode is something that hasn't been duplicated by any other Thomas Friends episode. I remember watching this episode as a kid, and at the time I thought it was just a fun Indiana Jones-esque type episode. But as I've gotten older and I've watched the episode more and more, I realised there's a lot more to this episode than I first thought. And that's when it struck me. This episode is like 2001: A Space Odyssey or The Shining. It's the type of movie you can't only just watch once. You have to watch it multiple times to fully understand it and overall appreciate it more. So without further ado, here is Rusty and the Boulder, analysed. All of that deeper meaning can all be applied to Boulder himself. In fact, the entire episode is premised on whether or not Boulder is actually alive or not. Now of course we all know Boulder isn't actually alive, I mean, he is a boulder. But since there are so many implications about his character, we actually question his consciousness. And let us not forget, there are also some glimpses where Boulder can be seen with a face. To understand what I mean, here's all the implications I can find.
On the island of Sodor, high up in the mountains, was a mysterious boulder. It had stood alone for a long time.
In just that sentence alone, we understand Boulder's character. He is alone, and he very much likes his privacy. Then, later on in the episode, a giant rock lands on the rails very close to Rusty, which gives them the impression that Boulder wants them to go away. This can also imply that Boulder is deeply frustrated with all the workmen disrupting his privacy. Then, there are several moments of rocks falling right by Boulder. This can imply that Boulder is slowly losing his temper. So when Boulder comes crashing down and starts chasing all the engines, it gives the impression that he's finally snapped and is going after everyone who he feels responsible. So when you think of it like that, it's actually really scary how this giant rock is so intimidating by all the characterization given to him. Then there is the final scene where Boulder can be seen with a face staring at the night sky. This image alone is stuck in everyone's minds, alongside the narrator's eerie speech.
They move Boulder to a hill close by the yards. Rusty is sure that on a clear night it is gazing up at the mountain and that its sides are being carried on the wind to where it once used to stand, proud and silent. I wonder if Rusty is right.
So in conclusion, Rusty and Boulder is not just a fun and adventurous episode. It's an episode where Boulder is essentially the main character and the mystery surrounding him. It can also be viewed as an episode about consequences. The workmen want to work in an area which is obviously unsafe for them, and wind up causing Boulder to completely destroy the sheds in a burst of flames. Even the Fat Controller takes notice of this.
We should have left this part of the island alone, he said thoughtfully.
And it's all these things which make this episode one of my personal favourites. And it's a prime example of why Thomas the Tank Engine is one of my favourite TV shows of all time.